What is going on, everyone? My name is Jason, and this is the iPhone SE 1 month later. So a little bit over a month ago, I got my hands on the brand new iPhone SE. I did a review on it, and at the end of it, I said that I believed in it so much that I would take the SIM card out of my beloved iPhone 11 Pro Max and use the iPhone SE as my only phone for 1 month straight. Well, it's been a month. Let's talk about it. Now, before we get into the review, if you're into checking out the latest consumer tech products before you buy them, or if you're just a tech head like me, I make a video like this every single week, so make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe so you can be the first to know when a new JSL review is out and you don't miss anything. So let's start off with the good, because there's been a lot of great things about the new iPhone SE that have really stood out after using the phone for a month. Number one, the camera. My God, the camera. Apple did not mess around here. They deliver hard when it comes to camera quality, and it's probably the phone's biggest selling point. The images coming out of both the front and rear cameras are phenomenal. Everything comes out razor sharp, colors are vibrant, and have that high level of accuracy that Apple really dials in on. Dynamic range is on point with its ability to leverage next generation smart HDR, and portrait mode on both the selfie and rear facing cameras do a superb job. Now, when it comes to still image photography in the budget phone realm, there's no doubt that the iPhone SE is at the top. The only phone that's within this price range that's competitive is the Google Pixel 3a. I recently did a video comparing the two, and they're so close in quality it really comes down to preference. But outside of those two phones, no one is even coming close to what these two are bringing to the table in terms of camera quality. But where the SE takes it to another level in comparison to the Pixel 3a is the video quality. The SE can shoot 4K video at either 24, 30, or 60 frames per second, just like the flagship iPhones, and there's not even a distant second place here, it's that good. Video footage comes out razor sharp, the colors are well calibrated, the dynamic range again is insanely impressive, and the stabilization Apple is able to pull off here is so good, it seriously looks like I'm shooting with a gimbal. And given that the main thing that most consumers look at first when deciding on a new phone is camera quality, and the new SE having virtually the same quality as the way more expensive iPhone 11 and 11 Pro, it's undeniably great value given the $399 price tag. And 1 month later, it's only made that sentiment more pronounced than anything else. Okay, so the second great thing about the iPhone SE that you'll notice after using this phone for a month is the overall performance. Now, that shouldn't be too surprising considering that this phone is packing the flagship A13 Bionic chip, another component of this phone that just makes it undeniably good value, and it doesn't disappoint. Apps load up razor fast, gaming is buttery smooth, and I talked about this in my review with the Pixel 3a. The SE's true processing power is probably the most pressure tested with its image processing speeds. As soon as you open up the camera and press the shutter button, it's doing way more than what it looks like, even though it's not recognized by a majority of consumers out there. And look, the real gains when it comes to performance to me is all focused on the back end. The A13 Bionic with the optimization of Apple's hardware and software means that this phone is going to run great for a long time. Plus, you could expect support for OS updates for years, and Apple has really proven that their iPhones last way longer than competitors, and it's going to be no different for the iPhone SE. Now, the last noticeable positive takeaway from the iPhone SE 1 month later is the design. Now, before some of you guys jump down to the comments to call me out on this, I do recognize that this is nothing more than just a souped up iPhone 8, a design that is no doubt dated and a far cry from what most smartphones look like today. But let's really break this down. The iPhone SE has a glass-on-glass metal design that is extremely well put together, it's IP67 water resistant, and it supports wireless charging, all features that are usually excluded in this price range. And it's a noticeable different experience in the hand when comparing something like the Pixel 3a. The premium build materials makes this much more flagship-esque, and all in all, it doesn't feel like a $399 phone. And look, for all of you who are disappointed that the new iPhone SE doesn't have smaller bezels, a better display, or something like Face ID, first of all, I feel you because I really wanted those things too. But what you have to understand is that if Apple completely redesigned the SE, there is no way that it would be the price that it is. The reason why this phone is $399 is because they're using a design in which they have all the parts, they have all the components, they have the engineering complete, and they have the manufacturing process down to a T. So even though it is dated and familiar physically speaking, to be fair, it's a whole other beast on the inside, and a month with the new SE has only made me appreciate more just how much you're getting with the very reasonable price tag. Okay, as great as this phone has been, it hasn't been all perfect, and the first main negative that I've noticed with the SE after a month of using it is the battery life. It's pretty behind 2020 standards when it comes to available screen on time, and if you're a moderate to heavy user, there will be times where you're gonna need to re-up before the day is through. Now, this is mainly due to the small battery size. The iPhone SE is such a small phone, there's gonna be limits to how big of a battery you can put in there. But even with the low power consuming display and the optimization of parts, battery life is not this phone's forte. Now, I don't want to give up the impression that the battery's awful, you can't make it through the day on most occasions, especially if you're a light user, but with everything people do on their mobile devices these days, it's just not equipped to ideally handle the sheer amount of time that people spend on their phones. Now, the second big negative, and ultimately the factor that made me return to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, is the small screen size. For clarification, I don't have any issues with the display resolution, which I know is the reason why many people won't even come close to the iPhone SE. It's a sub 1080p LCD that is really out of whack with 2020 standards, and I've said this like 1,000 times, but the display is totally fine. It's still sharp even when viewing HD video content, and the lack of resolution hasn't impacted my user experience in a negative way. But here's the truth. It is really hard to go back to a small, compact screen that has a huge forehead and chin if you've already made the transition to larger, more immersive displays. As great as the phone is with all its features and incredible value, all that stuff will not make it any easier to go back to a tiny display like this if you've already made the transition into something more modern. And dude, I tried really hard to get used to the smaller form factor. I even locked up my iPhone 11 and 11 Pro Max so I wouldn't be tempted to use them, but man, I just couldn't get over it. I consume a lot of content on my phone, and it felt noticeably not as enjoyable as what I've grown accustomed to, and this really shouldn't have been this difficult to anticipate, but it really feels like you're using an old phone. Even after the month was over, I almost found myself running back to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and it immediately felt better having that screen real estate, and 1 month with the SE has made me realize how much I've grown dependent on it. Now you need to understand that what I'm saying here is not going to be for everyone. There are a lot of people out there that actively avoid the larger iPhones because they want a more compact device, and if that's you, you're going to love the iPhone SE. But if you've already made the leap over to a bigger display, which honestly is like 90% of the smartphone market now, it will be a struggle to go back down to a smaller, compact screen size like the one on the SE. But at the end of the day, 1 month with the iPhone SE has done way more to increase my respect for it than the other way around. But I want to pass the question off to you guys. What do you guys think about the iPhone SE 1 month later? Do you think it lives up to the hype that surrounded it when it first dropped? Or do you think it's just not a phone that you could rock out with in 2020? Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. Okay, that's about it for this review. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you guys found it useful. It really helps me out. If you guys have any questions about the iPhone SE, leave them down in the comments and I'll be sure to get to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.